So nice to see you. Stephanie is recovering from thyroid surgery. Nina is coming in from Oslo, Norway. It is so great to have all of you guys here. So welcome to Writer's Bridge number 15. We've been doing this for 30 weeks, people. Thank you for being here. For do-overs, revisiting social media posts that did not work, but should have. We do want to let you know we've got 3 more slots in the Writer's Bridge course. It's an 8-week course. It's a big time commitment and it's a money commitment. So I know it's not for everybody, but if you want to know more about it, we do have 3 spots left and we will talk about that at the end of the course. Remember that this is the Writer's Bridge because a platform is a thing that you get up on and yell at people. And a bridge is a 2-way street where you reach your readers and your readers reach you. Let's all take a nice deep breath and think about gently reaching our readers and letting our readers gently reach us. So we always cover a lot. Do plan to watch the video again. You will get a recording link tomorrow, and we also send you links to all of the previous episodes as well. We have a couple of questions of the week. Eileen asks, how do you get more readers to an online published piece? And a lot of us share our published pieces on our socials, but there's a couple of tips. Make sure that you share a specific quote from the piece when you post the link. So on Twitter, you want something funny or provocative or counterintuitive. On Instagram, you want your caption to reflect something meaningful or something about your process of writing the piece. On Facebook, for your friends, a personal appeal of some kind, hey, this is, a piece that I feel really passionately about, or tell me if you think this is as funny as I thought it was. And in the groups that you're in, post it if it is useful or supportive to your group. Like, hey guys, I know we've all been talking about queries and I wrote this blog post about querying in case you'd like to see it, that kind of thing. Then I would say, share it again 2 days later with a slightly different quote on each of your thing. Share it in any of your groups that allow self-promotion. Not all groups allow self-promotion, so know your rules. Email it to your mailing list with a quote and something that is hopefully useful for them from your piece and invite them to share it. So basically, as much as you can, don't just post the link places, pick a quote or say something about your writing process, your submission process, your publication process that is going to appeal to the people reading. Ashley, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah,
you post all your content.
I do. I cross-post everything and I repost things so often, and people who have seen it before love it every time they see it. And so many of my audience members have not seen it yet, so it feels really new to them. When you are sharing it, a couple days or a week later, don't be afraid to mix up the image. Maybe take a picture of you at your computer, or it looks like you're writing, or, out on a walk. And, I've been thinking about this piece that I wrote, like just some reflections that kind of tie in, if you're going to pitch an essay to publication, making it timely makes it more appealing to the editor. Making your post more timely it makes it more appealing to your reader, to your audience. So anything that you can do, if you're getting a snowstorm, take a picture of the snow falling, then link it to your piece, like tie it in. So just think, there are a lot of even older pieces. You can do the same thing. There's no expiration date. Tie them right
It's okay to resuscitate something you wrote last year and go, hey, this beautiful snowy day reminds me of the beautiful snowy day on which I wrote this other piece about my dream vacation in Hawaii. It's okay if it's a bit of a stretch. I think we talked about this a number of episodes ago, but people will do things if you give them a reason, even if the reason is not a real reason. There was a scientific study that was people lined up for the photocopier in a particular university where there was always a line for the photocopier. And they sent in test subjects who said either, can I cut in line? Can I cut in line? I need to make some copies. Can I cut in line to make some copies? I only have 2 pages and I'm running late. Both excuses got the person to cut in line like 90% of the time, even though one of the reasons for can I cut in line was I need to make some copies, which like, that's why we're all in line. But people instinctively respond to, I've been asked to do something for a reason. So the more you can give a reason for people to click through and read your new post or your new publication or your last year's publication, the more likely they are to click through. We had one more question of the week, and feel free to like send us these questions via our Gmail. Ellen asks, how do I get beyond in my content? How do I get beyond, I'm happy to share this review or interview? So Ellen has a book out. It's called Lost Girls. It's a beautiful book of poetry. And Ellen, this is where we go back to our content buckets, this idea that there's certain topics that we can rotate through. Like, for example, Ashley, what are your content buckets?
Oh, one quick note, it's fiction, short story.
Thanks, Ellen. Sorry, I got that wrong. Ellen's Lost Girls is a collection of short stories.
I have it right behind me here on the shelf. Okay, my content buckets are what I can't remember. Just kidding. No, keeping monogamy hot, mindful parenting, and actually my brain is totally fried right now. Guys, what are, my content buckets? Sorry, Allison.
Sex toys. You talk about sex toys and folding laundry and like having a better life, really, So Jacqueline talks about parenting. Jacqueline talks about specifically parenting with special needs children. Jacqueline talks about motherhood, and Jacqueline talks about coming to terms with your own faults as a parent, which is kind of complex for a content bucket, but which really resonates with a lot of Jacqueline's followers. So Ellen, one of the things to think about is what inspires you? When do you write? Where do you write? What makes you think, oh, hey, I want to write a story? And think about bringing the readers into the process even more. Lisa asks, what about sharing a piece that previously was published in a print journal? I usually say, give the publication 3 months, like it's an exclusive for 3 months, and then go ahead and post a snapshot of it or a PDF of it, or something where you can share it with your group. If people have not purchased the publication after 3 months, they're not going to be purchasing the publication. So I think it's fair game after that. They've had their first print rights. Now it's all up to you.
And
Ashley,
for Ellen specifically, talking about the process of writing Lost Girls, how you decided to write the short stories, going into more detail about one character and one story, or using that as a jumping off point for a mini personal essay. So talking about, in this story, this character faced this struggle. Right now, with the renovations in my house, or with the pandemic, or with the health challenges in my family, or with my pet, then tie it into your own life. So how we're saying, make things timely to bring in an old piece, take from your short stories and then bring it in with what is going on in your life right now to tell us more about you, because I would love to know more about you too.
Yeah. Because Ellen, at this point, I know the cover of your book really well. I know that people love it and have given it great reviews online. I'm pretty sure it's going to be fascinating because I've read some of your other work. I can't buy your book yet because I'm in Dubai and it's a little bit harder to get a new book here. But I don't really know anything about you as a writer, and I am so ready to know more. I want to know more about Ellen. Yay. So we had some do-overs, and we had some people send in posts for do-overs. We're going to do a couple of Twitter posts, and we're going to do a couple of Instagram posts, and basically talk about what could make this post hit a little bit better. So Ashley, I'm going to turn it over to you for screen share, and we're going to go ahead and dive in with some Instagram posts looking at what is challenging about this post. How could it be even better?
Okay, so we had a bunch of brave volunteers. Can you see my screen right now? We are on Instagram on Kirsten Ott Palladino's post. Are we right there? Okay, so Kirsten actually has a fabulous Instagram, and she does a lot of things really well here. Right in this post here, she is referencing a new piece she has up at HuffPost. And she's talking about loving her body size, about body positivity, and also kind of bracing herself for, the body size police to come in. now that this vulnerable piece is up live. I really loved this mini essay that she posted. She's using a professional photo that she had taken. I don't know if Kirsten's on, but I'm thinking this is maybe when Equally Wed came out, her previous book. So she's reusing an older professional photo. A couple, there we go. Actually, I didn't notice these other ones here too. This is perfect. When you can use a carousel of photos, really, really wonderful. I don't know if everybody knows this, but when you put more than one photo in a post, when people are scrolling through social media, Instagram will show them one of the photos. And if they don't click on it and engage with it, later that day or in the next couple of days, Instagram will show them the second photo and then the third photo until they click on it. There's another really great, even shorter, actually, no, this is the longer one, mini essay here. You guys could go to Kirsten's page and read this. This is really about loving yourself before you are expecting any other love and affirmation from other people. Beautiful post. I would love to see more mini essays from Kirsten because she really, really nails them. Now, we have Kirsten talking about a Clubhouse event right here. Clubhouse is another social platform. I'm actually not on it yet. It's audio only. And she is talking about that here. This is a beautiful graphic that she has, maybe provided to her from Chandra, who she's speaking to this day. But I want you to take a look at this graphic and this other one for when she's talking on a podcast, because we have some other people who posted about podcasts or conversations they're having with other people. And these are excellent examples of beautiful notices that you are talking to somebody, okay? Because it has two beautiful photos. They're nice and clear. You can see the faces. It also has an original and beautiful logo for the Be Elevated conference. Clearly the date and time, like all of the things on there, but it's also beautiful. You know, it's not just thrown together. It's definitely a custom design. So, and when we're going here, we have Kirsten's post and then even more information. And then she talks about the why in her caption. Okay. So all of these are examples of some really great things that we can do.
And I want to also note here on this that, and I honestly don't know if it's Kirsten or Kirsten. So Ms. Palladino, apologies if we're saying it the right way or the wrong way. We're going to just stick with Kirsten for right now. What I really love about her photos too is notice that they're all a bit light, like they're all a little bit lighter than a real life photo. And that's something that does very well on Instagram when you brighten up your photo just a little bit and make it a little bit lighter. Now notice down here, we're getting into some photos that have almost a yellow tone to them. Those are not as appealing as the photos up high that have a more white tone to them. So if you are doing a warm aesthetic, like more of a yellow or an orange tone, go ahead and commit to that all the way and take photos that are going to look beautiful as warm toned photos. Otherwise, go for that cool tone because it looks a little bit crisper and a little bit cleaner. Oh, and Casey assures me it is Kirsten. You have it right, Ashley.
Okay, awesome. I always say Kirsten, but I know our other Kirsten, Bubbleator, is Kirsten, so I've switched. Okay, now on to Jessica's post here. Allison, I don't have the chat box open, so if there are any questions as we go, just jump right in. Okay.
Absolutely.
So Jessica has written the amazing book, Smoke But No Fire, Convicting the Innocent of Crimes That Never Happened. Manny and I both read this book. And then Manny ended up on Jessica's Instagram stories because I took a picture of him reading it and tagged her. I want to take a look here. So Jessica writes about really important things that so many of us want to know more about and want to know what kind of action we can take. One of her most popular posts in the last few weeks is this one here, where she is very specific about what has happened under the last administration and what is about to happen in the next few days as far as executions. So I think this was a really popular post, not because it has a great design aesthetic to it, but it's so clear in the information. When we go over here to this most recent post, this is a man who was charged with 6 murders that he didn't commit, and he was exonerated. I think he was convicted of 4 and then exonerated. but over different periods of time because they were different crimes. What I would love to see over top of this is that information. I would love for it to say, charged with 6 murders he didn't commit. And then hashtag of, his name, or, the movement that we can click on to look into this more. When you click on his photo, there is a really incredible story here about Mr. Williams, unbelievable story about Christopher Williams. But when we are scrolling and we just see this photo, I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means.
And he's not somebody I recognize from my regular feed. So I'm like, is that a gentleman who I know? It's not. And my first assumption is maybe it's just a friend pic. So I would have to look twice to make sure that it is Jessica's photo. And then I would have to click through and read the caption to know, oh, this is this gentleman's story. So I think, yeah, if you added some kind of a graphic there, like the same way that you have a quote from Martin Luther King on Martin Luther King's photo, is there a quote from this gentleman that you could put on his photo? Which also on like a larger social justice level also helps put him on the same footing as other people that you respect and want to share the words of, which is like a subtle thing, but it's a nice thing.
Absolutely. To mark this with his name, to mark this with the challenge that he has overcome. Like, why should people be interested in Christopher Williams? Then we could do some branding at the bottom. Jessica has a really great handle, Jessica Henry Justice. So you have an idea, okay, I'm going to learn something about social justice here, or the justice system, right? That would all, like, on so many of these posts, getting some consistent branding there would really help, because then, Jessica, I think a lot of people who are on social media for, especially Instagram, for that education in social justice and criminal justice reform would look to you as somebody to follow and to reshare, because there's consistency there. Okay, this is a post where Jessica was on a podcast for her library. I think it is very cool that the Montclair Public Library has a podcast. This I'm going to show you in contrast to the graphic that was on Kirsten's page that had pictures of 2 people. It also had the logo of what was going on, but it just pulls you in more when there's a face and when there's times for when it is going to be posted, all of that information right there on the graphic. So I know within a few seconds how I can find this and who's involved in the conversation.
The other thing that I would add in there is I would put a little banner across the photo that says link in bio, just to make sure that people know, oh, hey, this is where I can go. I would actually take just a little, like a beauty queen sash banner and throw it across maybe the top right or the top left corner with link in bio, so that people know right away they can click through there. We had a couple of questions in the chat about composition. And I want to tell you guys the 2 things that you can do to most improve your photos right away are to put in more negative space. So for example, you just saw the photo on Kirsten's page that had, on Jessica's page that had birds in a tree, but there's a lot of sky around the birds in the tree. Is there one that's got negative space? Like, see how Kirsten here in the black dress on the left, there's open space around her. Her body is not taking up the entire frame. We get a sense of her in the picture. Negative space is a really good thing for photos. It's restful. Put in more sky if you've got sky in your photo. Put in more water if you've got water in your photo. I like to think of it as you're leaving space for the audience to join the picture with you, which kind of helps me remember it. The other second most important thing that can really help you a lot is level your horizons. You can look up online how to turn on grid lines on your camera. And when you hold your camera up, take that extra moment to move it a little bit side to side and make sure that your horizontal lines are truly horizontal. Also watch out for, have you tilted your camera forward or backward, which will also give you like a distorted photo. If you're taking a photo from up top, is your camera truly flat? The iPhone has 2 little yellow and white X's that you line up with each other, and then you know your phone is flat. And those 2 things can really improve your look on Instagram. and make people want to click your photos a little bit more often. I want to also just add one thing, because Jill had a question about what should you do if you put up a post and you have some errors, or you realize you could have done better, like a redo because I didn't include a quote, or I didn't include multiple photos, etc. Is it just a lost cause? It's not. Generally on Facebook, go ahead and edit anything you want, anytime you want, because Facebook doesn't penalize you for updating your post. Instagram, on the other hand, is worried about this situation. What if Ashley posts something amazing about hot monogamy and it gets 1,000 likes and 1,500 comments because people are totally into it. And then for some reason, Ashley's brain is taken over by aliens and she deletes her caption and replaces it with a caption saying, I think that all children are horrifying and should be boiled and eaten. And now you have all of these 1,000 people who have liked that post that now says, I think children should be boiled and eaten. Not expressing any of my personal views here. Not at all. I love children. They're delicious. So Instagram resets the algorithm if you edit. So if you put up your post and you realize, oh, hey, I have a typo and it's within like 5 minutes, go ahead and fix it. But if you've started getting likes, leave it alone. Think of it as a charming imperfection that reminds people you're human. And if it really bugs you, go back 5 days later and edit it then, because Instagram will reset how many people it reaches. And those 1,000 people who already liked it won't count anymore for showing it to more people. Like, it doesn't take away the likes you've got, but the likes are no longer driving your post to be in front of other people. But honestly, people like that you're human. People know that you're human. And Jessica says, I have so much trouble editing photos, adding texts, making banners, etc. It just seems to take forever. Honestly, find one app you really enjoy using and that you find pleasurable to deal with, and just get used to it. Like, I have 2 filters that I apply to all my photos. I level the horizons, I up the brightness a little bit, boom, we're good to go.
I just want to show you guys. Yep, I want to show you something just really quickly here. Probably a lot of you are familiar with it. But this little template I have that says Ashley Renard and then has that pink background. I have that saved all the time so I can just pop whatever quote card I want. I would say, Jessica, just come up with something that's like Jessica Henry Justice, and then you could just put on the photo if you are talking about a specific person whose case has been overturned or who we need to do some work to try to support that person and being exonerated. Just get a template and then layer on the things that you want to add. And I do that all within Instagram stories. I'm also going to include on our follow-up email the little video tutorial that we have about editing right within Instagram, editing photos right within Instagram to make them brighter and straighten them out, because those things can really help, and you don't need an outside app for that.
Yeah. And somebody points out too, Jill says, I have a hard time letting go of the feeling that I'm bugging people. I want to remind you guys, if you remember nothing else from today's episode, the vast majority of our friends and followers, the people who have signed up on purpose to hear from us, do not see the vast majority of our content. You are almost never bugging someone because they are almost always only going to see it once on one of your platforms. And if one of us sees your post like, oh, look, there's Stephanie's post about mini thyroid cancer on Instagram, and it's also over here on Facebook, I would think, oh, good, I'll watch it now because I didn't have time to watch it when I was on Instagram earlier. Now I have time to watch it now that I'm on Facebook. Or I'll think, go, Stephanie, good for you getting your content out there. No one is ever going to think, that's Stephanie parading her cancer around in everybody's face. I can't stand seeing another post from her. So like, it's okay. You're not bugging anybody. It's going to be all right.
And Stephanie just said in the chat that she saw someone at a conference 2 years after her migraine book came out who was talking about having a migraine. And she asked her friend, whether she had a copy of her book. And then her friend said, you have a migraine book? So yeah, like, look at it as 10%. We talk about 10% a lot. Like, people are going to see 10% of what you post. Each post is going to hit like 10% of your audience, maybe. Okay, and that's just for everybody. That's just social media is a crowded place and all of us follow a lot of people. So that is fine. Just keep, and that is a great thing because then we get to keep tweaking how we're going to present our story.
Exactly.
So
Ashley, back to you. What else can we see? This looks
okay,
really cool.
Look at this. Claire Trevien, who is a poet and a beautiful artist.
Oh my goodness.
Gorgeous.
I am loving. Oh, and look at that negative space around her
Yes.
selfie, that beautiful white space. And it's okay that the horizon is slanted there because it's clearly a choice and not a mistake.
Yes, look at these beautiful photos of her, beautiful photos of her art. You know what I want in here? I want some of her writing in the captions. She's just talking about the art itself. I want to know a little bit more about her. This art is beautiful. I don't buy a lot of art, but I want to read. And if her words were in here, like she has the prices. If she has a little bit of her poetry or why she made it, then I might be like, oh, and you know what? I think I need that painting too. It would just pull me in more because there would be more to do with Claire. So all through here, I mean, just gorgeous.
Oh, and I love how Claire has merged, scroll up just a little bit to Bernie in the chair. I really love how Claire has taken like a beautiful meme that was very popular and fun and that everybody felt good about, and she has made it her own. And that's just a really beautiful way to be part of an ongoing conversation that's bigger than your own account.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful account.
Yeah.
Yes, so beautiful. Okay, now, so just more words, Claire, just more words. Okay, Debbie. All right, for Debbie. I love the colors that are going on here in this top row, you know, how they're kind of matching and how the second row is kind of matching in colors too. This is a beautiful post. And I saw this on my feed. And the first two sentences though threw me off. I didn't really know what it was about. And actually I liked it, but I didn't read the whole thing till today. This is actually an amazing story about Debbie's family, and she is the fifth cousin, and her cousins are very close with each other, and they all were able to take something from their grandfather's house when he passed. And a different cousin got the billiard balls, but then he sent out these balls just recently to all of the cousins and gave them the number of their birth order in the family. I want that part of the story to be first. I want to see that in the first couple sentences because it took us, down to here. I'm the fifth oldest cousin. And I get chills. This is a beautiful story. I was very close with my cousins growing up, and we've reconnected on social media, even though we're all over the world. This pulls at my heartstrings. This makes me feel something. So I would have that up earlier in this post. Okay, here we have Debbie's vision board. It is beautiful. It is gorgeous. I want a different caption here. Instead of this, at the risk of receiving a restraining order, I share with you my vision board. It is a very busy vision board, but it is gorgeous. I don't want an apology that it is busy. I want to hear what Debbie is imagining for this year, what she wants to feel, what she's really dreaming of. I want that because the pictures already pulled me in because it is gorgeous and I can get some ideas of it, but I want her to tell me a little bit more, even if it's like just what feelings she's aiming for.
Jean asks, newbie question, how do you arrange the photos to be color coordinated on the top row? A lot of people use what's called a grid planning app. I use a color story. Some people use preview. Ashley, what do you use?
I just post on Instagram and I just go.
You just make everything the same color.
I just make everything the same color and make sure I have my quote cards down the middle that are always the same and a photo of some sort flanking the quote cards.
So I have an app where I can enter my photos and edit them and then move them around to see what they'll look like depending on what order they're in. Hey, Ashley, will you get us to Brian's thing? And then we should probably segue into Twitter when we get a chance.
Yes, we can. Okay, here is Brian's gorgeous photography account. Okay, gorgeous, gorgeous. Now we're going to jump over. He sent us this post saying, I didn't get anybody to sign up for my mailing list. I got 4 likes. Not very much action on this post. if we look at the difference, and jump in here, Allison, whenever you want, if we look at the difference between this graphic and these beautiful images we are used to seeing from Brian, this is not very inviting.
Brian's angry newsletter summons does not share with me the beauty of Brian's incredible, phenomenal art. So like the challenges here are, I don't know whose mailing list this is. I don't know what, from just this post, I don't know what kind of art Studio Momo makes. I don't know what the 20% discount is on, like 20% of what? And not having seen Brian's account before, I did not know that he took photos of flowers, and this does not tell me that he does. So I would say make it more of an invitation, promise your reader something specific for signing up, and use one of these gorgeous photos of flowers, which also have a teensy little problem.
They do. This right here, Brian, I thought maybe you had a Substack and like you were going to be charging for your newsletter, but I could get a discount if I was a new subscriber to your newsletter. I didn't really know you were selling art. Like I was, it's just a little unclear there. All right, let's look. It's hard to pick the most gorgeous. They're all
gorgeous, except they have a problem. Ashley, what do those photos say to you, these beautiful flower photos?
It says, you may like this, but don't share this.
Reproduction prohibited.
Reproduction prohibited. So I'm like, I'm on Instagram. When I find things I like on Instagram, I want to share them. Can I share this on Instagram? Can I share it to my story? So there
I better not chance it, because this person sounds like they might be angry with me.
Yes. So there are a lot of other ways, Brian, that we could get your watermark on here. I would say, I think under here, I think it has your initials. I would say, what if we could make that like white, because it looks like so often you have a dark background and a colorful flower. What if we had a white watermark that we could have on either the bottom left or the bottom right-hand corner of there that shows that it is your artwork?
And has your Instagram username on it. So not copyright Studio Momo, because technically you're protected anyway. All art is protected the moment it's created in a fixed form. And a copyright notice isn't going to stop pirates from taking your stuff. But right now, for most of us, our enemy is not piracy. Our enemy is obscurity. And you want people to look at these beautiful photos and recommend them to other people by endorsing them, which is what they do when they repost them or they share them in their stories. So put your username on there so that people know where to go see more of this, and go ahead and invite people to share their favorites. Maybe tag people on your next photo and say, hey friends, who thinks that we should, who thinks that this photo is a perfect match for one of their friends. Tag your friend who you think this photo would really appeal to, because all these different flowers are so gorgeous. You could even post like a photo that's like a 3 grid or a 6 grid or a 9 grid, and go tell your friend, do you think your friend is flower number 1, flower number 4, flower number 5, whatever. And that's a way to encourage people to interact. And everybody likes saying to their friend, Ashley, you look like a beautiful flower.
Thank you, Allison. Which one? Just kidding. They are so, these are gorgeous. Okay, so if we go down further, look, we do have these photos without they just look so beautiful without that copyright, but we do need to have some sort of watermark on there so that we know that it's yours. But wow. Yeah. So gorgeous.
So beautiful.
So gorgeous. Okay. You want me to do our jump over to you, Allison?
That sounds great. Yeah. Will you flop over to me, and I'm going to find the little thing that I got. So Ashley, are there any questions in the chat we should address while I just pull up the Twitter things that I wanted to go through?
Yeah, Jean or Jeanne, if you could just tell me how to say your name, asks about multiple Instagram accounts, and we always recommend having one. Having one account and keeping up with making engaging content is enough work. So trying to streamline your bring together your content buckets, saying that she's a consultant and an artist. if I work with you, if I hire you as a consultant, I want to know all the things about you. If I am buying your art, I want to know like your other genius in consulting. I want to know all of the things. So really, if you want to look back to our discussions about content buckets, we go through a lot of examples of how we can take all the parts of ourselves and then make a feed, you know, a living, breathing Instagram presence or social media presence, whatever platform you're on, that really encompasses all of that.
Awesome. So
Thank
I'm going to
you,
take
Ashley.
a
And by the
second.
way, it's Jean.
Jean. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I read Jean d'Orléans, so obviously my
Definitely.
high school French is failing me at this point. So yeah, Jean. So I'm going to take a moment and just share screen with you guys. I had two people ask to have their Twitter quotes looked at. So Casey Mulligan Walsh has posted, while I love a new pair of actual glasses more than most, especially my current faves, Lafont Paris cat's eye frames with blue and chocolate brown dots. Yeah, I know that's not what the ever-wise Anne Lamott is speaking of here. I'm guessing Instagram link. So there's a couple of challenges with this post. So Anne Lamott is saying, sometimes I think heaven is just a new pair of glasses, which it's an okay Anne Lamott quote, but it's kind of blah. It's not super intriguing. It's not immediately provocative. It doesn't make me want to instantly find out what's going on more. I adore Anne Lamott. This one is a little chicken soup for the soul as far as Anne Lamott goes. The quote is cutting off at a weird place, which is because this came through IFT. You did a cross post through IFT. And I do think you should still cross post through IFT, but then I think you should go ahead and post it again with a better quote. I think also you need a better opening here, because the opening that came over from Instagram is not super strong as far as pulling people in to click over to Instagram and read it. And if you post it with a better opening on Instagram, it'll have a better opening quote here. I want to take a moment and draw your attention to the time of day this was posted, 5:34 p.m. I am myself cooking dinner because my husband and I eat at the age of Florida retirement homes. And so dinner is usually around 6 and I'm cooking. Other people are rounding up their kids, or they are wrapping up their workday, or they are answering their last few emails before they get the heck out. 5:34 p.m. is not a fabulous time for the world's greatest engagement on Twitter. People are not scrolling to read at 5:34. They're scrolling to scroll, if they're scrolling at all. They want to cruise through light entertainment rather than click through and read something serious. But on the other hand, over on your Instagram, Casey, people engaged with this. They engaged in it at their own pace, and they engaged with the actual meaning of your post. They enjoyed it. They clicked through. They commented, and they commented in stuff that said what, that interacted with what you actually meant. Now, what I'd suggest is that you simplify this caption and you do what I call own your own authority. So you say stuff like, I'm guessing we've all experienced. You say, it's human nature, I think. It appears to be the beat I need to take before I can choose again. So go ahead and own your own authority to have your own opinion. So maybe you start with something like, we've all experienced the shift of perspective that suddenly brings things previously blurry and dim into bright, crisp focus. So we're starting here instead of commenting on the Anne Lamott quote, because when you post to Instagram, your first sentence is already the picture. So you actually want to start with something like, we've all experienced the shift of perspective. Then you might hear, because you've got, my challenge these days is to remember to put on these glasses before, stuck in my own ability or refusal to get out of my own way, I decide for certain that all is lost. Get a specific anecdote in there. Tell us about a specific time that you're experiencing that. The other thing is, down at the bottom of this post, you've got another thing here, which is great on its own, which makes me think of the make good choices advice we endlessly give our kids. Sometimes that's spot on. So this is into a new topic. So I would take the make good choices advice and put that into another caption. You could get 3 tweets out of this post. You could get a tweet that says, what shifts your perspective? You could get a tweet that says, actual glasses fix my vision. Shifting perspective fixes my feelings. You could get a tweet that says, We've all experienced the shift of perspective that suddenly brings things previously blurry and dim into bright, crisp focus. So post at a better time of day, pick a less blah and Lamott quote, or if you reuse this one, speak it with authority and trust that we trust your voice and we actively want to listen to you. So let's flip on. Sorry, go ahead, Ashley.
In the chat box, we have some conversations, like some questions that I'm answering there about post timing. But Yolande is wondering what we can do to increase the accessibility of our posts. So using an image description every time you have a quote card or a photo, image description, say what's there. Brooke Nisley, redheaded stepchild on Instagram, does a very good job with image description. Melissa Urban from Whole30 is a big account that I follow, who's always done a very good job with image description. She was one of the first ones I saw doing that. When you make a video of any sort, caption it, caption your stories, caption your reels. So that's it. If you have a static image, write the description. If you have a video where you are talking, make sure that you have written captions. Those are the two biggest.
And it's also useful to put your image description in the alt text, either as well as or instead of. Brian also points out hashtags use what we call camel case, which goes up and down. So if you're doing hashtag am writing, capitalize the A and capitalize the W, because it makes it readable for someone using a screen reader if it has the capitalization within the hashtag. Stephanie likes to do hers as alt text because she usually needs the space. Nina, the image descriptions are for people who are image impaired, who are visually impaired and who need a description to know what they're looking at. It is also not, I don't want to call it virtue signaling because that's crappy, but it's a way to let people know I actively care about accessibility and I am willing to put a little bit of effort into making things accessible for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
As a side benefit for you, it also makes your post more searchable as Instagram gradually becomes more searchable.
Yes, and
tutorial for how to get to alt text on Instagram.
Yeah,
Sorry.
And Nina, sometimes too, there are people on Instagram, and I actually learned this from Brooke as well, who maybe don't have a visual impairment, but who have some sort of traumatic brain injury. And then what their processing is a little off from where it used to be. So when they look at a photo, they sometimes need that image description as well to make sense of everything that's happening in the photo that's there. And having those words there and the screen reader, or just to be able to read the image description, really helps them make sense of the post. I made a commitment to myself that I was not going to post any more quote cards until I had an image description, because I would get a caption ready and then I would just post and I would go, oh, darn, I forgot about the image description again. So I'm making that one of my necessary things before a post comes up. And actually I'm having fun with the image descriptions. I don't know if you're supposed to make jokes in them, but it's fun to do that for me.
Yeah. I'm going to do one more Twitter post here from Mubeena before we do a little bit of breakout room time. And just to let everybody know, we do love doing a little bit of breakout room time where you just get to meet some of the other writers and network. If you're here for the first time, people sometimes do think, oh, is this going to be weird? It is always surprisingly pleasant. So, give it a shot. And if you don't want to go into a breakout room, that's fine. You can stay in the main room with me and Ashley, also cool. So taking a look here at Mubeena's tweet, we have westernized movies starring India with animals in their titles. Lion, White Tiger, Slumdog Millionaire. Can you think of any more? Hashtag cinema, hashtag movies, hashtag Hollywood, hashtag India. So we have another problem here, which is 8:44 a.m., not the world's greatest time for people participating in your comment on me kind of post. The other thing I think is you can gamify this. You can make this something that people are like, ooh, how can I participate in this? So what I think you might want to do is Slumdog Millionaire, Lion, White Tiger, make India the star of any Western movie by putting an animal in the title. And then you could put something like Cloud Leopard Atlas. and encourage people to post more stuff after. So people might then answer with something like Star Wars, A New Hoopoe, Captain India, The Winter Sloth Bear, Pangolin Fiction, Black Buck Mountain, Reservoir Jackals, Like Water Buffalo for Chocolate, Beauty and the Bison, Die Hard with a Vulture, 12 Angry Rhinoceri, All the President's Cobras, Thelma and the Lesser Flamingo. And I had so much fun thinking of all of those. And like, I would just really enjoy participating in that Twitter feed. So make it a game that other people can play as well, because right now it's sort of an opinion. And to be perfectly honest, as a white lady, if I didn't know you, Mubeena, and I know you and I love you in person and you're awesome, as a white lady, I would be like, if I comment on this quote, am I going to accidentally say something racist? So, because, I don't know if it's my place to comment on a critique of westernized movies starring India with animals in their titles. So if it is a critique, go ahead and frickin' slam that critique and say what a horrible thing this is. And if it's not a critique, if it's just kind of a funny observation, make it clear that everybody is allowed to play. Yolande asks, will the chat be shared afterwards? Yes, we will share the chat afterwards as well. And everybody's asking about good times to post on Twitter, midday or late evening on Twitter. People also really like midday. Think about the times when you need a little break from what you're doing. A lot of people take a break around 11 o'clock and check all their social feeds. A lot of people take a break around lunchtime. A lot of people take a break around 3:30. And then a lot of people take a break right after dinner because one spouse is doing the dishes and getting the kids into bed and the other spouse is scrolling their phone. Anything else you want to add, Ashley, before we pop into some breakout rooms?
We have a lot of questions about scheduling for social media, using Hootsuite and other things. And some people put their recommendations in here, but that might be something that we want to talk about at another time to really get into
we'll get to some scheduling apps. There are a bunch of them. Some of them are easier to use than others, and we will spend some time on that in a future episode.
Allison, do you use a scheduling app or not?
I used to use Hootsuite. Jill points out it doesn't push automatically to a personal account, but all my accounts are business. I now post when I feel like it because I'd rather stay on socials for about 15 minutes after I post to interact with anybody who interacts with me, because that's a really strong way to raise your level of interaction, is to be there ready to interact back.
And I've never scheduled either. I am batching a lot of posts now and having them saved. But they get posted, when we hit post.
You are now going to get an invitation to a breakout room. You're going to be there for 6 minutes, find out what each other write, share each other's socials so that you'll get to meet some people and relax and enjoy. We will come back from breakout rooms and have about 3 or 4 more minutes of chat. And if you're using the closed captions, there are no closed captions in breakout rooms, so you may want to stay with us. And if you're just hanging out in the main room, that is also just fine. So glad to have you guys. I'm just checking through to see if anybody's had difficulty joining.
I'm back.
Yay. I'm going to move Maxine because nobody else has joined her room. I just randomly moved her to a room and I hope she likes it.
Great. Hi, everybody who's hanging out with us. Hey, Shelly, you're there.
Hi, Shelly. Yeah, and I don't think nobody else is stuck alone.
Okay.
Cool. Shelly, how's your book coming along? Shelly might have us on screen record and be stepped away from the computer for a moment.
Yep.
That's
okay. She's here. She's here. She's in the chat.
Yay. Hi, Shelly. It's okay. You don't have to apologize to us, Shelly. We're just saying hi because we like you.
We're just chatting.
Yeah. So Ashley, I think if we've got a link to something that talks about good times of day, that was a really common question. Yeah. And I also noted people want to know about the app where you could put in your grid and it would like show you your color palette. I'll dig that, have it somewhere. I think we talked about it in a previous episode.
I think we did, but we can pull it up again, a color story, just right, because that one works pretty well, right?
Yeah, but there was an app where like it's not a planner app. It's actually one where
Oh.
you show it you show it your grid and it spits back your palette.
Oh, okay.
And I can't remember the name of it, but I'll find it because it was helpful. Like it was helpful to go, oh, these are the tones that I have been using in my thing. I know the Facebook group that I learned it in. So if necessary, I can scroll back and look in there. And then if we can also put in a link for how to find the alt text function on Instagram, a lot of people wanted to know about that too.
Okay, I found Color Cooler.
That's it, Color Cooler with a K.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, fun. Okay, and then yeah, to find the alt text on Instagram, because I have seen it before accidentally, but I've never used it intentionally. So yeah, taking a look at that.
Cool. Yeah, I used it for a while and then I just fell out of the habit of it. But from what I've heard, Instagram is going to start having a more robust search function, and the alt text will help you get found in the search function.
Yes. And then, because if it's within the alt text, it'll only show up for people who are using screen readers, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so having it on there, like, because I wouldn't even have known it was a thing if I hadn't seen it on Melissa Urban's posts and then on Brooke Nisley's posts.
Yeah.
So I think I'll probably I'll continue to put it in my caption. Yes.
Yeah, cool. And then when we get back, I think we just need to mention we're sticking around to take any extra questions about the course. And plus I told Casey I would explain the PowerPoint thing one more time. And we would love them to come to our next meeting, which is all about how to build your book launch team. And if you are writing your book now, you should be building your launch team now as well. And we're going to talk about how to do that even before you have your book out.
Yes. All right. Shelley's coming. She's just writing, not overanalyzing and doubting. Yes. Perfect.
Yay. Yes. Thinking about it as a lump of clay is a beautiful idea, Shelley. That is a great metaphor. I love that. And I'm so glad you're finding the flow.
And that doubt, going into doubt and out of doubt, is a dance that I don't think ever ends. There was a quote Elizabeth Gilbert shared, and I don't know who it was from originally, who said she took like a photo of a book, and it was,
Hi, John. Welcome. John, we are currently in breakout rooms, so you're just hanging out with us backstage, and then everybody will be back in just a moment. Sorry, Ashley, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. It was, how can I ever know that what I've written is good? And it said, if you need to know, then you should never write anything, because you will never know for your whole life if what you wrote was good, because that target of what is good, and that's why I'm a little scatterbrained today, Allison. My pre-orders went live and I was like nervous getting on here, couldn't even remember my content buckets, because I'm in that doubt now too, even at this different place.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm sending the 2-minute warning to the breakout rooms. I've been thinking about doing a weekly Zoom co-working, but I'm not sure that once our course starts that I'll have that kind of time. But I'm also wondering if maybe that would be something that maybe people would also want to like come in and co-work and work on their course stuff too.
That might be fun. I get the emails for Tara Moore's all the time because I've been on her mailing list for a long time since I read her book.
Go to those when I can. I find them really helpful.
Yeah. I've never been, but I get them Sundays, right?
Yeah. Yeah, usually. It's real freaking late for me right now because it's at 10 a.m. Pacific, but once daylight savings time clicks over again, it'll be better.
Yeah.
So, yay. Was it a good Valentine's Day?
It was. We have just been focused on so many things around the house, and Manny doing, I think actually what we did on Valentine's Day was he pulled up this list of the biggest independent bookstores. I had a list, people recommended their favorite independent bookstores on Instagram. Nice. And he pulled them up and sent me screenshots of their addresses, and I addressed envelopes. So that was
that sounds like a beautiful moment of togetherness.
It was.
Yeah.
It was like just this collaboration. So I had the Sharpies and the padded envelopes, and he was getting yeah. So it's been stuff like that. We didn't do anything fancy. And actually on Valentine's Day, he wrote me a card about how proud he was that I wrote my book.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
It was.
Elf and I love sitting around coding HTML together.
Oh, wow. How to keep monogamy hot. Coding
That's
edition.
romance. Okay,
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. It is so good to have you. We just want to do a little bit of a wrap up, which is to say that we will be uploading the chat for you to be able to download as well, because there was a lot of talk about accessibility in there. We will be letting you know about the app that lets you see your color palette. It's called Color Cooler. And the second word is KULER. And basically you show it your Instagram grid and it gives you like swatches of what the color tones you're currently using are. We will also send something that gives you like, this is where alt text is in Instagram. Hi, little baby, you're adorable. And it's always so nice to see you. Our next meeting, you will be invited. You will get the invite, and we do encourage you to invite other writers. Our next meeting is going to be how to build your launch team. So as you're writing your book, you want to already be building the team of people that are going to help you launch your book by working hard for you, mostly for free. Ashley?
And today I opened pre-orders for my book, and my local indie bookstores offering signed copies, and people crashed their website within like 5 minutes of me kind of whispering it on my story, and they had to start phoning in. And these are just people who I've just been working with. These are the beta readers, people who I've been sharing chapters with since I was working on my damn first draft. So yeah, there's just so much potential to really be connecting with your readers so that they cannot wait until you have something to actually sell them.
We are going to tell you how to, as you spend the next 2 months or 5 months or 6 months or multiple years finishing your book, how to start making those deposits in the bank of goodwill that you will be able to withdraw from when the time comes and you need people to help you hustle your book without feeling like a used car salesman and without feeling like a mooch. We're going to get you to set yourself up so that you are ready to joyfully accept help that will be joyfully offered to you to help share your book. But let's unmute yourselves, everybody, for our lovely goodbye time. So go ahead and unmute yourself. Thanks for being here.
Bye. Really great session.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Bye,
Congratulations, Ashley, on your pre-orders.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, congrats.
Bye.
Good to see everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Maureen, I love your background.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you. It's so helpful.
So, Deborah asks, any plans to offer the 8-week class again? Can't do it now, but definitely interested. As long as it's not a terrible experience for everyone involved, we will almost certainly offer it again. But we can't say how soon because it depends on like how writing books goes.
Yes. And I mean, it's going to be, Allison and I are both launching books like while we're teaching this course, and we're still going to be doing Writer's Bridge and still trying to do our things connecting with our audience members online. We have failed. So like, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't have to like take some deep breaths to just like think about all the things we're going to have going on during that time.
I'm just going to give up sex and laundry for 2 months. And I figure that's going to carve out more time in my day.
So we're really excited about it, but we will probably need a pretty substantial refractory period after the course because we're going to be doing a lot of coaching, and we're going to be taking a look at people's posts in the private Facebook group, and really people are going to be investing a lot in those 8 weeks.
How much time?
We're saying plan to spend about 5 hours a week. There's everybody goes to a group class once a week that is between 70 and 90 minutes, depending on how many questions there are and how much time people need. And then there are 4 separate group coaching calls, and you go to one of those each week. Like we made them 4 so that there's only 6 people in a coaching call. Everybody gets individual attention on what they personally are working on. We're going to do like a rotating hot seat as well as have general stuff that we talk about. And then we're saying, go ahead and allow probably an extra 2 to 3 hours a week for doing the exercises that are part of the course. Like, we're going to work on building your mailing list, writing your newsletters, coming up with articles to pitch, figuring out where you want to publish and what's the best way to get yourself into those publications. Do you need a connection? Do you need a cold pitch? Do you just need to keep submitting? How do people get into them? Because we really want to look at platform as social media is a chunk of it, but it goes way beyond social media. And especially for like more literary writers, a lot of their platform is publication related. And I think that's a really important thing to get to. Shelley asks Shelley says, which I think is great, I want you to know that I want to do your course, but I know I need to write instead. I think that is a really great choice. Like, that's the thing too. It is totally not the right choice for every single person to sign up for this course immediately. So like, you're not missing out. We're still going to do the Writer's Bridge every other week. It is always going to be free. We love doing it. We love spending time with you guys. The course is really more of an opportunity for someone who really wants to put their platform into high gear in a focused way that is about genuine connections with readers and not all about clicks. And like, this is kind of a self-serving example, Ashley, but like, what occurred to me today was, we have hardly hawked this thing at all. Like, we made a website for it that I didn't put on any of my social media. I think I made like one comment in a Facebook group. You posted it in the platforms group. I sent an email this morning to like 60 people on my mailing list, and you shouted it out in your Instagram stories. And I think we've mentioned it on Writer's Bridge for like 2 episodes now, 3 episodes maybe.
Yep.
Because we have connected with the people who want to take the class in a way that we don't have to ram down our throats how great it is. So yeah, and it's $875, which is a chunk. And we do offer a payment plan. We take Venmo, we take credit cards, we take paper checks. We do
everything but livestock and children, I think.
No livestock, no small children.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that we kept it so small to just 24 people. We have almost 1,100 people in the Writer's Bridge email list now, and about 1,100 people in the platform binder. There's some overlap, but not all of it. And we both have, substantial email lists from other classes we've done. And we wanted to keep it really small because we want to give a lot of personal attention to people who just want to kind of move that up their priority list for this.
And with the group coaching, it gives us time to both do, I am an experienced and fabulous Instagrammer and TikToker. How can I accelerate what I am already doing? And should I be on Instagram at all? And if so, Thelma, how do you turn this thing on? And that's like one of the advantages to doing like a big class and then group coaching in small groups. So yeah.
We're so excited to have you, Marcia.
I have a question.
Yeah, Rochelle, what's your question?
Sorry. Should we have already finalized? So I'm about halfway through with my memoir right now, my first draft. So it's not anywhere near, so should we already be more like a final stage of writing to be doing a class like this? Or
I don't think so. And we're going to talk more about that next week on Writer's Bridge too. Like, honestly, I think you need to start building the bridges to your readers as you are writing the book, because it also helps you shape the material in the book. It helps you know which kind of publications are going to promote your book, review your book when the time comes, and you will already be connected to them and they will already think kindly of you and want to promote you. We have people in the class right now who are just starting to write their memoir. We have people who their real focus is publishing essays. We have at least one novelist in there, and we have people who are 3 months away from book launch and who are ready to like move into high gear before book launch. But I'm hoping that we're not overreaching in making it, all things to all people. But I think the format of there's a class with 20 people in it, 24 people in it, and then there's a coaching meeting with 6 people in it is going to give us enough time to really visit each person's concerns, because that was important to us, which is why it's kind of expensive, because we wanted to make it something that we could really put our time into.
More personalized.
And even the time that Allison and I'll be looking over, kind of the little progress sheets that you guys are going to do in the course of like what your challenges were that week, what went well, so that we're both on the same page. Whoever is going to be doing the coaching call with you, like we're all, there's just going to be a lot behind the scenes too. I want to tell you, so I've been interviewing agents and editors for our forthcoming Writer's Bridge podcast, which we don't have exact, on air date for that, but I'm getting the interviews and this information. I spoke to two really fabulous agents. One is Anna Sproul Latimer. She runs Neon Literary with Kent Wolf. And the other is Margaret Riley King. She's Danny Shapiro and Glennon Doyle's agent. And I just talked to Margaret last week, and she said, listen, like getting an agent is like almost the last step. Like building your platform and really getting the book to the place that it needs to be, and then really getting it further, like all of that really needs to be done. And then the agent like comes in and like kind of ushers you over like the next little step. And Anna said, never is too early for you to be building your platform. Like never, like, getting an idea of who your readers are. And she talks a lot about radical empathy, like the writers she sees on Twitter that then she gets into their DMs and says like, can I be your agent? Or people who are just like sharing with so much care for other people on a daily basis. And then that makes her want to say to them, will you write a book for me? Like, can we do this? Because they're already really putting themselves out there and connecting with people.
And with my book, like my book is a writing craft book. So a lot of the blogs that I wrote for free about writing craft made their way into the material of my book in another form. And basically I built platform from 2013 to 2018. And then I sold my book to a publisher and my agent in the same 2-week span. Because it went really fast because I had already done the work. I already knew what people wanted to hear from me. And because my book is an expertise book, people trust me to deliver advice. God only knows why, but they do.
Could I ask you guys also, what are the hours for the 90-minute meeting? I know that I also work, so I'd be working.
So Monday, it's noon Eastern.
Yeah. Monday's noon Eastern, and all the classes are recorded and all the coaching sessions are recorded as well.
And then for coaching classes, we have 2 different Sunday options, earlier in the day or evening, East Coast time. One will be with me, one will be with Allison. And then Thursdays, we have 2 different choices, one that's midday Eastern and one that's evening Eastern. So, and you can pick different coaching calls each week, depending on what time works in your schedule, or you could pick the same one and just book it out for the full 8 weeks to keep it consistent with the other things you have going on.
Yeah. So, but the weekly 90-minute meetings are always going to be at Mondays at noon.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Okay. And we won't go the full 90 minutes every single time. It depends on how many questions they are. They'll always be 70 minutes long. And then our Shavasana period where we all reflect on what we've learned.
Got it.
My question is whether so I feel pretty good about my ability to publish, and I just messaged you the same question, but since you're here, I feel pretty good about my ability to publish side essays. I'm okay with that part, but the social media coaching is what particularly feels like it would be useful to me. Would it be possible with this workshop to like just focus on one element rather than broadly? I'm also never going to do a newsletter. I'm not going to.
That's fine.
Don't do one.
That's fine. That's fine.
So that would not be time.
It's like a buffet. We'll give you the buffet each week of these are all the possibilities in this area that we're talking about this week. And then you can go, I want to get better at that and that and that. Okay. And we'll say, yep, got it. We're your coaches. We gotcha. So whatever it is, wherever the focus lies. I think that's really smart that you know where it is.
I'm actually going to nip over because I need to show Casey some PowerPoint stuff anyway. But so Kima, do you see a PowerPoint slide?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we have here is this is mailing list week. But we're also going to talk about writing blogs, which in your...
Yeah, and even there for that week 2, Kima, say it's like giveaways. Then if it's the social media coaching that you need help with, then it's okay, who is already in your circle that, we can get an Instagram, you can get an Instagram live with another forthcoming author that week. You guys can do a giveaway together. You could do a story swap. Okay, what are the more advanced techniques that we haven't talked about very much in Writer's Bridge that you could do for, the book promotion that week?
Yeah. So Casey wanted to know a little bit about PowerPoint. And so Casey, I'm going to go ahead and go to the slide sorter view so that we can kind of see it. This is in progress. I'm building the workbook for the course. So what I have done here, and I'm going to go back to the normal view, I have gone into design, slide size, and I have set up my page to be a custom size, which is a letter sized page. And then I took another template that was already created, but it was a horizontal template. And what I did there was I went into, where we go, home, view. I went into view slide master. And in slide master, I'm able to mess around with all of these little elements. So like these little paper strips here, I changed the colors by going into format, theme colors. And then I wanted the theme to match the stuff. Let me actually scroll up and then I'm going to show you how I kind of matched it. So I wanted the theme to match the photo from the front. So when I went into format, theme colors, I would click on the little box and then it would give me like more colors. I pick the eyedropper and then I hover over the color that I want it to be. And so I was able to pick up all the photos from the, let me do that. And
from
so
that cover image, right?
Yeah. So there's the, close master, there we go. So this cover image here, I wanted to reuse it because we'd already used it in the advertising and I'm a big fan of like coordinated stuff that all looks the same. So I went through and picked the colors that were already in this image and made them the colors of all these little paper things. And so like one of these blues is Twitter blue, one of these oranges is Instagram orange, one of these purples is Instagram purple, which is subtle, but it makes me happy. And I gotta say, like, this is a big old brag for myself, but I think this looks freaking sharp. I'm probably gonna try to reuse it as a book that can be published and sold after we finish the course as well. But there will be, like, everybody will get these main pages and the key topics, and then there will be extra worksheets for each week. So we're gonna encourage people to put them in a binder so that they can spread them all around. And I use Slides Carnival for templates. I find that their stuff is way prettier and more exciting than the stuff that's already in PowerPoint. And I think a lot of this works on Keynote and Google Slides as well, but I've never used those. So